Hi, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Wednesdays are the day that I'm going to go live and talk about different subtle selling techniques and tools that you can add into your toolbox so you can win a lot more business. And one of the main things that everyone I work with struggles with is objections. So a lot of times, like people will say, like sales gurus and experts will say stuff about how you can overcome any objection and that kind of thing um, with like some type of pitch or something. And that does not work. So, what I would really love is if you guys could comment like some objection that you got recently, and I can help you work through it. But basically, it's not about overcoming the objection, it's about understanding what's driving the objection and overcoming that. So, a lot of times people will assume they know why somebody is saying something and they'll just start overcoming it, but it's a huge guess. So, for example, somebody might say, well, how much time does this take? And so you assume that they're worried that it's going to take too much time. And so the person will be like, well, it's really not that much time. And we have all these ways that we make it efficient and blah, 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 blah. And the thing about that, other than the fact that that might not be their concern, the other thing is that you immediately stop listening when someone starts overcoming an objection because they're like pitching, right? Oh, hey, Melissa. Okay, my prices are too high. That's a fantastic example objection. So like think about yourself. When somebody, you bring up something, you expect the other person to overcome it, and then you're, not really listening and you're taking it with a grain of salt and you're like expecting them to overcome the objection, right? So you really want to do something that's more of a pattern interrupt, but also you just really want to understand what's going on. So my prices are too high. You want to ask more questions like, compared to what? Prices are too high compared to what? What is your reference point? Are my prices too high compared to someone who does the exact same thing as me? They might reference, oh, I'm not sure exactly what you do, Melissa, but, let's say it's like financial services. So, like, you mean compared to another CPA that you know? Well, no. Or if they say yes, well, what did that CPA do for you? Did they do all of these things? So you can really have a conversation to understand where they're coming from. And often by having these questions where you're digging into it, the person will realize that they don't even really, like, they overcome the objection for themselves, basically. So for example, the one about how much time is it going to take? Do you have like a tight schedule? And the person's like, well, I can only do it on Tuesdays and Fridays. Oh, perfect. That should be fine. You can absolutely do it on Tuesdays and Fridays. So knowing what that extra layer was, they were able to overcome the objection instead of saying, oh, well, it's only going to take, not that much time and it's really easy. And we have all these people that make it easy in these apps or whatever, because the person was just wondering about these days, right? So another common one, or let me give an example of one that we got all the time as, oh, Melissa, I remember, DSF, you sell digital storefronts. So a lot of times when people would take like this online course, right? So Melissa, I would ask, my prices are too high compared to like other lead services. What lead services have you used, etc.? Your prices are not too high. Let me tell you that. So you might just be talking to the wrong clients, which is entirely possible, which you were. We had a big conversation about that actually. Okay, so anyway, when people would take this course, they would sign up to learn more about a course that helped them build an online business. They would ask these really weird questions, like, because it would involve SEO, they would need to learn SEO, and they would ask like, well, do they tell you how to buy a site? And then you'd have to be like, yeah, they do. Or like, who do they recommend you buy a site from? Such a strange question, right? So it's really tempting to just give them the answer and go down that rabbit hole of question, answer. But what they're really asking is everything included? Is everything included in the course? They're trying to catch you in something. So they'll never be satisfied with your answers. It's always going to lead to another question because it's not overcoming their core objection, which is like, is everything included in the course? And the answer is, so you want to ask, everything is, you want to just basically say everything that you need is included in this course. Like that's all you have to say in that particular situation. And then you can ask, like, is there a concern that something might be missing here? Has that happened to you in the past before? And then you can talk about it more and more. So really, you don't overcome an objection by just guessing and then pitching or selling. You overcome an objection by understanding where it's actually coming from. And really getting them to answer questions that sort of helps themselves overcome it, because they realize that a lot of times they just don't have the right frame of reference, right? They just don't have all the information. They're not asking the question correctly. So in another live, I can talk more about when objections come up at the end of the call, because that is the hardest time to overcome them. You can overcome them in this format that I'm sharing with you right now. But, ideally you want to overcome them in the beginning or middle of the call, because once you're at the end of the call, they're just expecting you to overcome them. And so again, there's that level of skepticism or their guard up with whatever your explanation or reasoning is. So I will do that in another live. But for now, go ahead and tell me what your objections are in the comments, and I can help you with questions to ask that will understand what's going on. Or I can help you. Sometimes you don't even need to ask more questions, because it's very obvious what the real objection is behind their objection. Usually it comes from a place of fear, right? As far as like, it's too high, is there a fear that you're not going to get your return? Are you worried there's not going to be a return? What would make you feel better about getting a return? Have you had an experience where you didn't get a return before? So that line of conversation too is really uncovering like what the fear is driving the objection. So anyway, comment about your objection that you get, and I can share some ways to troubleshoot it for you. And I'll be going live on Friday about when education is not the right choice to help you move forward in my Straight Line Leadership series. And I'm so excited for all the new people in my group. And I am just so grateful that you're here with me and appreciative, and I can't wait to help you more. So have an amazing day, everybody. I'm also, if you're on Clubhouse, I'm about to go live with an amazing copywriter, and we're going to talk about sales and answering all your sales questions. So if you're on Clubhouse, my handle is Alicia B. Definitely join me. All right. Bye.